Bruce played that. Oh, they are? We'll watch that, I'm sure. Easy one around town, then.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I'll answer your question. Today's game of the
Currently, I just added a line to our budget. LGIP balance at the end of the year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually right now.
Yeah.
LGIP balance at the end of 26. That's just taking the sum of these three numbers.
So the big thing is it can remain the 91 if we luck out, don't get a bunch of bad weather, don't have tree problems, et cetera, right?
Yes, that would stay 91 as of right now, 91,000. This should be this number minus that number. Okay, so where we are, where we might be, where we would be, just for display purposes, this isn't going to be in the budget. But
Scroll up a little bit if you would. Okay. There was a question on those purple ones.
these
For
guys,
26, whether they were both accurate or if 26 included the 11.5. Have we determined if they're, because that 40,000 could be different if we have to take the 11.5 out.
yes, and I believe, and I guess this would be my second eyes request from Michelle, 43,620 and 43,660. I think we went through this last week.
You did something about it.
You and I via email Friday, maybe something. And I think these numbers, well, the one in the middle too, but I think these two numbers are accurate for this year. Payment in lieu of taxes and the state conservancy numbers, but to Rob's point, if we can triple.
You can look at them. I don't remember anything wrong with. We've looked at a lot of numbers, so I'll look again.
Yeah.
And if they both are legit, putting them in 26, are we better off just putting them in one of the rows and making it 37, or keeping it separate for better play? What's the difference between the state conservation you got there and the payment in lieu of taxes is DNR 26,400? I'm lost. What's the state conservation, whatever it is, there, the 621?
I would have to look back and look at the transaction details. I quite frankly don't remember.
But you think keeping them separate is the way to go.
If let's say it this way, if this line 13,000, it was 14,3, then it was 13,8, now it's 11,1. If this is that, then it should probably be somewhere near 11,5. If this is a different payment, because these 2 years we didn't have any, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That it likely should be tracked in a different GL account.
Right.
But if this isn't accurate, if this 11.5 is really part of the 26.4, then you're correct. We go to 52 in the hole. I don't want to dismiss the fact that money is money, but we're in the hole and we got nowhere to move.
No, I'm fine with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Line 14, do we need is there something to decide there, or should there be a 0 in there?
I put it in there because our transportation aids were recorded in there in 24, so it showed up in that GL account, but it's actually this one. If you see the difference here, there's 25 grand here that would put us at 105, which is kind of anticipated. So it was a recording thing, and to be able to make the numbers somewhat, again, back to that 47.6 in the whole thing.
Okay.
Alright, so
Thursday.
it's Wednesday, isn't it?
So we've got three options: debt service, levy request, fund balance. Those, I mean, we're really down to three, and this delta again is super potential to change.
Absolutely.
I don't know, which is probably my biggest aneurysm at the moment is how do we move forward with that being a delta, because we have 2 weeks, which kind of brings us to the second half of number 1, additional budget meeting dates to be set. Okay. If this were only my budget, and I was the guy presenting it, I would put that number in there and deal with the worst case scenario, because it pretty much is. It's not. It's actually technically that number. But intents and purposes at this point is that they're, whoa, one too many. That's really
bad, dude.
All intents looks like it's going to be a maximum of 450 because of the budget they're presenting internally.
Yeah, and after you put that in there, they dropped their budget $90,000. I told you that. I did say it to them last budget meeting.
That gets them to that like 914,000 for the departmental budget.
Okay.
Which again, 48, 49,
Doesn't mean they
50%.
can't cut more.
It doesn't, but that's the rock and the hard place piece of where we're at with the timeline right now. Is we are responsible for presenting a budget.
You get it.
And to me, because if we ended up where we were 30 grand to the good, or we were 3 grand short, and we had been budgeting what they had been asking us for, I would say let's not worry about it. We'll pitch it out of the expense accounts. We'll balance the budget with the number they've been pitching. But right now, we're like this far apart, and we have a deficit even with what we're asking for.
So you're saying leave it there for now? Leave it at the worst case scenario?
See, I totally get what you're saying. Do not disagree with you one bit. I go back to we're still in the middle of a negotiation.
100%.
Showing something there says we pretty much are accepting it, and we're not. And I don't want to give any false information to any other group or party. And that's why I feel 350 should go in with us understanding exactly what you're saying. But there's 2 trains of thought on this one, and I acknowledge that.
So here's the third train, right? Let's say we were dumb enough to think this was a great idea, because that's pretty much where we have to say, oh, okay, well, that's just the price of service, right? So we go to pitch this to the town residents, and we say, hey, by the way, we need $141,000 levy exceedance.
Just like last year.
Okay? And they say, no. Doesn't matter what that number is. Doesn't matter what that number is, because they told us that 718 is not the number to go. You know what I'm saying? So, or the 718 plus 141. So whatever, 853, whatever that number turns out to be. They could still tell us no, and we would be right back in a hole, regardless of if that hole is this big or if that hole is this big. We would be in a hole because we have an existing deficit that we can't uncreate.
So what I
100% being able to say we're 41 grand short for our budget with our aspirations of the cost of service. It still means we're 41 grand short.
So let's just say they get turned down. Then the next stage, she can do an immediate posting that we're gonna have another board meeting. Reference, I don't know.
Or finally going fine tooth comb, going through it again and taking out what we have to take out.
I mean, there's,
Well, we would have to have a meeting boom the next day or
Yeah,
something.
no, I get it. And yeah, we'd be back to the scenario where those three might have to get cut. Significant part.
right, library, like literally any of it that is not absolute is up for debate at that point. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are unfortunate in the world, and there's a handful of them in this budget, but
Okay, this has gotta be done, I'm looking at dates up there on the wall.
22nd of October.
So let's go back to
She
meeting
has-
dates.
Yes, so Michelle, you're gonna be gone when?
I'm leaving the 15th and I will be back in Palmyra.
The 20th.
And I'm going the 22nd to the 28th.
So, in other words, we're gonna have to have a meeting the 20th or 21st, or Michelle won't be here, we'll have to have it like the 16th. What do you wanna plan on for a date right now? You wanna go with the 20th? Will you be back that evening?
Well, yeah, but we'll have to do an agenda before I leave, or you guys have to do it.
And does
Fine,
Josh
so-
has the ability to do that, correct?
I've never asked him.
I
I'm sure he has the ability.
I thought you did it. once, that's what I said.
I emailed the website posting company asking them to post on our behalf, but I've never posted it in the website itself.
Well, I could post it on the website if I took the laptop with me,
You can do that.
although I have to be sure that the reception.
Let's go with, well, what do you think? She's gonna be gone. She won't be
Well, the
back
first question I have is, when will we have more information that
from-
makes another meeting worthwhile? I mean, we could schedule a meeting tomorrow, but we're not gonna have anything else than we know today.
So I think before we leave tonight, I would very greatly appreciate what number we put right over here.
Well, Frank, this falls to you. His argument, which is very valid, not disagreeing a bit, would like to put 450. You heard my rationale for 350, so I'm fine whatever you decide.
I think both of them are right, but for the purposes, well, it can only be a positive thing if it's less. But I really think we should put 450 in there.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. 450.
Okay, here's the next thing we can do as part of this whole long term between now and the budget hearing. If we know what that is, we can absolutely make that known. There are abilities at the public hearing to adopt the levy that this is gonna get super convoluted, so hang on with me for a second,
There you
okay?
go.
We're gonna ask for $141,000 levy exceeds. I'm throwing that out there to make that zero. Okay?
Yeah.
The people are begrudging to approve it because we don't have a contract signed. 100% understand, been there 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 100% the same position, down to the 11th hour, no contract, no cost, all that kind of stuff. Again, the levy itself is the amount we can go up to. The board could also pass a resolution that absolutely stipulates that whatever the cost of service is less than $450 would be the direct amount we would reduce the adopted
Levy by.
budget
Or budget.
by and use the funds collected towards 2027 fire and EMS cost. You're essentially designating the funding.
Yeah.
They're setting the levy. There's two things that happens at that meeting, technically. I shouldn't even say technically. If we came with a balanced budget and didn't have to ask to exceed the levy, it would literally be a budget hearing for them to approve the levy as it is allowed by statute. Okay? The second part is a town board meeting where we say, okay, now we know what that final revenue number is because it's a big revenue number, and we decide where does that funding go? How do we break it out? Yada, yada, yada. That part, the people don't have a direct input piece on is the adoption of the I'll say the ammunition and forethought ahead of time to say, look, we've already passed this resolution as a board that we're asking for $853 or $858,000. If the cost of service goes below $450,000, we will designate that delta towards the cost of fire and EMS service in 2027. Right? So at that point, instead of, the limit still stays what the limit is, the levy we could then propose, similar to us asking to, or not asking, proposing to apply fund balance. It's the same principle of, we can go here, we're really only asking to go here because we're also taking fund balance and we're adding on top to get back to that number. You know what I'm saying? We're building the sandwich based off of the tax revenue that was collected. Or
Well, the goal is to try not to use fund balance.
the goal is always to try not to use fund balance. It's even more the goal when you got $90,000 to your name, because that's one massive problem away from essentially complete financial catastrophe. So
The tornado was 100-some thousand that year, you know?
Yeah.
Gone, there it is.
So should we put that resolution you just spoke of on the November meeting agenda, November 10th, or
it can't, it's got it, it's, so,
on
You
our
gotta
next
do it.
budget meeting?
Yes.
well, okay, so if we're going to go through the show again and request to exceed the levy, that is a set of resolutions all on its own that I need to work with Michelle on, essentially to recreate what we did in 2024 for 2025's budget. The same thing. The resolution that says this is what our levy is, this is what we're asking, this is what the percent is, blah, 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 blah. That whole thing has to be done. Sidelight to that, and that has to be done by the 22nd, including the resolution if we're going to
Which
request.
makes using that 450 number even more logical, because if we kept 350 in there, because that's our goal.
Right.
Our offer, we wouldn't have time to do all these.
100% don't have time, especially if the village is
more
meeting.
sense to use the 450.
If the village is meeting on the 16th, and if they amend their budget agenda to include a conversation or a special village board meeting to discuss the fire and EMS contract that same night, then it leaves me 3 days.
So we need to put the resolution on the next special budget meeting agenda.
So when are we gonna have that, the 16th?
Well, the village isn't meeting until the 16th.
Well,
I think we absolutely have to pick the 20th or 21st as a absolute latest we meet, 20th or 21st. I would suggest we meet on the 20th in case we need to meet on the 21st or the 22nd. Remember 2 years
posting again or something.
Remember 2 years ago on a Saturday, we had a 12-minute meeting to repeal the resolutions and replace them with the new ones because one thing changed and it was like $300 difference, whatever that was all about. If we met on the 20th, we'd still have time on the 22nd to meet again and get that stuff to them because the deadline is again actually the 23rd.
I'm going to call this the 16th, because they have new deadlines, they're very spread.
Yep. This is the game planning part of this that unfortunately.
Okay, so let's go with the 20th. What time, 5?
I can't commit
6.
because we have no internet here. I can't get online to check my granddaughter's hockey schedule and whether I have to take her if my son's out of town.
We have internet, so you probably, yes.
I've always
Well,
got mine.
we got a new one.
Anyway, let's not worry about that right now.
So the soonest I can meet is 6 o'clock on the 20th.
That's, okay, 6 o'clock on the 20th.
That's not the next one.
Yes,
That will be the next one,
that will be the last one.
period. That's it.
Well, how do we,
Unless.
I thought that was the one we were trying to do just before the deadline. Aren't we gonna try to get together next week as well?
People aren't here.
So I could,
6 PM on the 20th, you said?
yes.
Let's move it, well, Josh, what's your calendar? You don't wanna do it next week at all?
So I can't on the 14th and 15th.
Can't?
Cannot.
Okay.
I mean, 300 miles from here.
We have a meeting the same as day as they're having, the 16th. I'm gonna be up, I'm going the 12th, 13th, and 14th of the WTA conference.
Yeah.
16th, we may have to have one. At least put it on the calendar and we can decide if we have it or not.
16th?
So anyone that's available.
Thursday.
We'll leave the 20th on there and then possibly the 16th.
Can we do 7 o'clock on the
What day?
16th?
I don't have a problem with that.
Dawn, are you available to run the camera?
7 p.m.
On the 16th.
You can? You can on the 16th?
I'll put it on here, I won't know for sure, but at the end of the day, all we need is 2 of us
Right.
in any one meeting to
Right,
vote
right.
aye for the budget, right?
Well, unless something happens to me, I'm available whenever you guys want.
So 7 on the 16th is what we're putting as a placeholder?
That's what I just heard.
And then on the 20th again is what time? 6 or 7?
6 o'clock.
Can you write this stuff down, Frank?
16th,
7.
7 p.m. And the 20th, what time?
6 o'clock.
That it?
You done? Josh, are you done?
I need to figure out how long it takes to get from here to us.
3.5 hours, it's 180 miles from my house. From our house. The street is down there.
2 hours, 52 minutes. I can make it 2.5. We'll be good. So 7 o'clock on the 16th.
Okay, so a motion to adjourn?
Wait, 7 o'clock, sorry.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?